Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today for Therm O Web to share with you this layout that I created for St. Patrick's Day, and it's to show you how to use your flock and create a little bit more of an ombre effect. I'm also using one of the newly released toner card fronts, and that is called Lots of Dots. So what I've done here is I've used this green flock. It's Green Envy from the original release. I'm going to adhere a stencil using some of the purple tape. It is a repositionable tape, and I'm adhering the stencil, and I'm using my stencil brush or a foam pad to rub ink on top of the flocked cut piece. The idea was for it to be an ombre effect so that it would go from lighter to darker. However, it didn't quite get that effect. It's more of a tone on tone effect. I had really tried to do an ombre. I really wanted it to get darker, but I don't have a darker green ink, and I'm not sure that a lighter ink would have given me that effect. I thought maybe rubbing some black to the edges would have worked, but I really didn't want to muddy it up, and so I was afraid to do that, and so let's go with this being more of a tone on tone. But this is a fun way of adding color to what would otherwise be a flat piece of ephemera. So I have 4-leaf clovers for St. Patrick's Day, obviously, and it is a stencil from Echo Park, and it really is more of just sort of swirls for just a little bit of flair to the shamrocks there. So what I want now is a bow. So those shamrocks I cut with my silhouette. This I'm going to use a die, and so I have the foam on the back of it. I really like the foam because it gives a little bit more dimension and it gives a little bit more solidity to the flock. So I ran that through the wrong way. I really like to cut foam on the foam because that doesn't leave the impression of the die in the flock. And then accompanying this die is there are stamps, and so this just gives you the impression of the bow, so it gives it a little bit more of a 3D look. Unfortunately, I used a light ink and you couldn't see it, and so this is a Distress Oxide crackling campfire. So yeah, I'm using a bunch of the newer inks. Just so happens that they worked perfectly for the color scheme that I was working with. So I have 2 bows, orange bows, but I know that I really am only going to use one of them. The deal with the foam is that it is white, and I like to not have white borders showing through if I can, so I'm just going to ink around the edges, and that just hides some of that white. Now what I'm going to do is, so these are last month's release. Each month Therm O Web is going to release some new card fronts and toner sheets, and this is the Lots of Dots, and it's the Slimline Toner card front. And I'm just using plain old gold foil, and I've preheated my hot laminator, and so I'm going to put that sandwich with slightly larger foil through the parchment paper and just run that through my machine, and I will spare you having to watch that go through, and that pulls off perfectly. And I'm going to save the selvage, the leftover of that, and probably use that for something else, but not on this particular layout. So that is the technique part using the Therm O Web particular products. I'm going to continue to use Therm O Web adhesives, but the rest of this is process video, and I'm going to build a St. Patrick's Day layout using the Photoplay Tula and Norbert's Lucky Charm collection. I am going to create some stripes that just sort of layer up to create the background for this, and then use the toner sheet card front as another layer, and then I will use those flocked pieces as embellishments along with the embellishments that come with this collection. So I am wearing a headband that I think I got at the dollar spot at Target. It was, or possibly even the dollar store, for Mia when she was teeny tiny. I want to say she was like 4 or 5, so 10-ish years ago, and she's too cool. She's a teenager now, so this is now Mom's hand-me-down, and so I wore it last year for St. Patrick's Day, and yeah, so that's what this layout is all about, is my hand-me-down headband. So I've committed to the size of these stripes, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere those down using my Gina K permanent dot adhesive roller. I really like dots when I am adhering things. There's just something about the dots that just seem to stick better for me. So there are my background layers. I want a little bit more black on the layout, so I'm going to mat my photo with just black cardstock. This actually came from a recent Tuesday morning haul. This is probably the video before this if you're interested in that. And so see how that just really pops against those papers there. Just a teeny tiny shot of black. So now I'm going to use the three shamrocks throughout the layout to provide that visual triangle that I like to use that guides your eye around the layout and creates some movement. I am using the Easy Cut adhesive. I am not using the Easy Cut adhesive the way that it should be used. So what you should do is pull the backing off and then stick it on the back of the flock, then run that through your die cut machine and then just pull it off like a sticker. I always forget to do that. One day I'll remember, but it works perfectly if you just sort of dip the object down into the dots. It picks up the dots and then provides adhesive. The problem is that then you also get adhesive all over your finger, and you don't want that on your photo. So you, yes, do need to be careful of where you get that adhesive. So I have got the element sheets of stickers here from Photoplay, and I'm using my Gina K double-sided foam tape here for a little bit more dimension. I like the way that that just pops up off the layout. Again, using the Easy Cut adhesive the wrong way, and it's not really the wrong way, it's just not the way it was designed to be used. And I'm going to stick that on the layout, but I decide that I want a little bit more black still. There's a lot of orange, there's a lot of green, there's a lot of the gold, and I feel like it needs some balance, especially with the weight against that really big four-leaf clover there. And so I'm going to get this black tag out, and that tag just is actually where I'm going to write my journaling. You just don't see that in the process video, and I don't know that you see it in the close-ups. I believe I journaled off camera even, but that really makes that shamrock stand out a lot better. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that. So I ran out of my Gina K adhesive, and this happened to be one that was full already. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. That is a actual Therm O Web. I think it's called iCraft. It's one of the iCraft adhesives. So when I tie bows, I tie them upside down because that way they actually have the legs of the string or baker's twine that actually hang in the right direction. And so that's why you always see me flipping my layouts when I'm doing it, so that I get the strings and the bows hanging in the right directions there. Again, using more foam to pop off some of these stickers for dimension. I like that orange there. It just adds a little bit of contrast to the layout. And I'm actually going to use, so there are going to be 3 clusters, each with the 4-leaf clovers, and each will have one of these phrases popped up. The top one says pinch me, the one to the left says tomfoolery, and the one to the right says feeling green. And I like the way that those are popped up, and they do create movement through the layout there. Let's see. I am going to off camera move the title, so you'll see me put the title towards the end of the layout, but I'm going to end up moving it underneath the photo on that orange there. There's a lot of orange concentrated just to that center sort of left of the photo. There is orange that I'm going to scatter around, but I like the way that the title works better underneath the photo. You'll see what I mean in the close-ups. So I didn't realize that this hat that says St. Patrick's Day is on the same level as the hat. It's funny how you sort of tend to block out the photo while you're creating, but yeah, so it does say St. Patty's Day, and it is 2 hats side by side, but it's still part of the visual cluster, and I don't think it distracts too much. So originally I had put all gold sequins, but now, and the sequins that I had originally used were self-adhesive. They had their own adhesive. I am now using some medium dots to put different color adhesives down. And so this is where I'm going to put the title, but I will move it underneath the photo there. I am going to include that bow finally. I found a good place for it, even with the title moved, using the orange glow flock there. So I hope you enjoy this process video. That's going to pretty much wrap things up, I believe. If you have any questions about the ThermOWeb product that I've used, please don't hesitate to ask in the box down below. I will also link you up in the box down below an affiliate link to the goodies that I did use. And I hope you learned something new as far as like doing a tone-on-tone technique with the flock. It's kind of cool. I really like the effect, and you'll see it much better in the close-ups that follow. So I thank you for stopping in today. I hope you are doing well. And if you have anything in particular you want to see with ThermOWeb product on scrapbook plate layouts, please don't hesitate to ask too. I would love to help you out with that. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Take care.